Hey guys, it is me, the Master of Dungeon, and yesterday the new Player's Handbook released to the public at your local game stores, one of which I have the pleasure of working at. Now, forgive me, this is my first stream, and I don't exactly have a great setup yet, but I need to get on the content making, so here we go. First of all, look at this variant alt art cover. It's pretty nice. Now, a big reason why I'm doing the stream is because, one, I had to get the new book anyway for some work-related reasons. Two, after giving it a read-through, it is really not as bad as a lot of the internet has been making it out to be. And there's just been a lot of hearsay and negative things like that just, frankly, aren't true. So a big thing of what I'm going to do here is give it a read-through with my handy-dandy cameraman, my cat, messing up my footage for you periodically, so bear with me as we go through this. So skipping past all of the introductory things, we have the intro to playing the game, where they have a lovely example of play right out the gate. And then it has the being a player versus being a DM, and what that means to you, and things like that. So, Going on to the next page here, we have the rhythm of play. It goes through how your sessions are supposed to go typically. Now, that's obviously going to go off the rails if you've ever played an RPG before, but such is life. Another thing that it's going to delve into is an ongoing game, adventures, and the difference between adventures and campaigns, which is very nice. I have a lot of people in my life who don't understand the difference between a one-shot adventure versus a whole campaign. And I actually had a bit of confusion with a coworker the other day who was like, yeah, when the new PHB comes out, the stores really want you to run a new campaign with it and stuff. And I was like, excuse me? Huh? Because it was kind of out of the blue, but we figured that out. We fixed that. Going right along here, it has the dice, what they're used for, and example images below. This is great because I have a lot of new players who don't know what a D20 is or what a D4 is, and it's nice to have a visual example of that, and so that way people can come a little more prepared. And then we also have our ability checks, scores, and what the 6 abilities are, as well as your D20 tests. It also goes into your ability score modifiers, what they mean at what range they're in, and things of that nature. That's very nice for me personally because I can never remember offhand what having a score at 10 to 11 versus 16 and 17, when that goes up. So that's very nice for me personally. And then it gives you examples of what your checks do and what they control here. And then it also has the technical difficulty. Now, I believe this book, after giving it a read-through, has a lot more rules in it that were normally reserved for the DM's guide, and I enjoy that, so that way your players at the table can actually reference the rules on their own instead of having to rely wholly upon the DM. And it even goes into your saving throws, your attack rolls, advantage, disadvantage, AC, and all that jazz. And then it has your interactions with your rolls, and then we have the big thing that I heard about early on, was they were changing it from inspiration to heroic inspiration, which it basically means nothing at all. The only difference is there are some other rules now that may allow your character to gain inspiration independent of the DM, which is an interesting thing that they're throwing in here. So, it also has the chart for your skill abilities, what abilities they use, and example uses. And then you have your skills with different abilities. And it also has your equipment proficiencies, your saving throws, and then it delves into actions, what they are, how they're defined, and how you use them, which is great. Not a lot of people know about dodge as an action because they never use it. And then it goes into what constitutes your bonus actions and reactions. And then also gives you a little blurb on what your character would do, which I enjoy because a lot of people treat D&D as this hack and slash thing instead of a shared storytelling experience. So going into what your character would do this early in the book is a very promising thing. For example, you're roaming through the woods, and you hear brush begin to stir. You hear the cracking of wood and trees, and suddenly you hear a strange, hooty roar. And you turn to see a gargantuan monstrosity, an amalgamation of... sorry, my throat's going out. An amalgamation of owl and bear. When faced in that scenario, me as a real-life person would probably run. And that's an example of getting into character, is what would you do as your person in that scenario? And obviously, some people will do the thing of, shoot it! Which, if that's what your character would do, that's what your character would do. But, a lot of people get into the technicality of combat and things like that. They don't think spur of the moment in character. But let's move on here. And this is where they get into social interaction, talking to people, which is great. Not a lot of people come into the game good at social interaction. And, that's not exactly something you can teach, but it is nice that they gave us sort of a little guide. And it goes into what role-playing is and the ability checks associated with that. And then they give us a nice example of a social interaction in-game and what ability checks may come from that. This goes on for another page, and then it delves into exploration, what vision and light is, what obscured is, hiding, and then it goes into the special senses, which is nice. Not a lot of people know what tremor sense, true sight is. Most people only know what dark vision is, or maybe even blind sight. Now, tremor sense is essentially, you're more like Toph from Avatar. You can feel the vibrations in the earth, and you can sort of locate things that way. Blind sight, you're a little more Daredevil-esque. And true sight means you can see through illusions and magical things like that. And dark vision is self-explanatory, so we're going to keep on moving. The next section delves into object interaction and what an object constitutes. And then it delves into breaking objects, hazards, and then it goes into travel and travel pace. Not a lot of people really delve into that, but it's nice to have it here. Because not a lot of people know that traveling at a fast pace imposes disadvantage on your perception and survival checks as well as your stealth checks. And that a normal pace only affects your stealth, and a slow pace gives you advantage on those things. And then it also goes into vehicles and exploration, and gives us a nice example here of what that means. That goes on for another page, and then we finally delve into combat. And it goes through the play-by-play, the step-by-step, and it tells you what initiative is, what surprise is, initiative order, and how to handle a tie. Essentially, if a tie occurs, the DM decides the order among the tied monsters, and the players decide the order among the tied characters. The DM decides the order if the tie is between a monster and a player character. And then we delve into what we do on our turn in combat. And this is where they've clearly defined something that's confused a lot of people, and that is communication. Communication is great. Communication is key in real life and in game, but it also tells you, hey, here is what constitutes an action versus a free action. For a free action, if you notice that the the shambling bush that's come to life and is attacking your allies. Heals when struck by lightning. You can, as a free action, turn to your party and say, "Guys, this thing's weird. It heals with lightning. I don't know." And that's a free action. But extended communication costs an action. So if you were to say, using the same example, "Hey guys, don't cast that spell that shoots lightning at it. I think it heals," and that gives, and if you go on more than that, that is a whole action. And then it goes into interacting with objects and what you want to do for doing nothing on your turn, and goes into movement, position, and difficult terrain. And then we get into the nitty-gritty, which is playing on a grid, corners, ranges, things like that. Dropping prone, and then it goes into creature sizes, which is very nice. Not a lot of people know about creature sizes. And then it goes into making your attack. You choose your target, determine your modifiers, resolve the attack, and then we get into cover, which not a lot of people know about. And it also dips into the unseen attackers and targets, and things like that. It goes into range and mounted combat, and it even gives you what happens when you fall off your mount, which is nice. Then it delves into underwater combat, which has been kind of a gray area for some of the games I've played in. So that's nice to see. We also go into the damage and healing, damage rolls, critical hits, and resting. So, we also go into here where the rules for stacking, order implementation, damage, half damage, and all that stuff really gets into it. It gives you the big difference between resistance and vulnerability, and gives us a good example on how stacking works. So, if you as a player character have resistance to necrotic damage as well as resistance to all damage, your necrotic resistance is still only half. It doesn't become quarter, which a lot of people like to house rule that it becomes quarter in certain instances, and that is purely up to your table's discretion. Then we go into immunity, healing, and then you're dropping to 0 and death. But in that same vein, we also have how to knock out a creature. Not a lot of people understand how that works. Essentially, it's a decision that you have to declare, and it has to be done with a physical weapon, or I would allow a force type spell. But something not a lot of people understand is that if you hit someone with a fireball, you can't knock them out with a fireball. It's just not... That's like, oh, I knocked them out with a grenade. It doesn't make sense. But it does delve into how to stabilize creatures and people, and that is a DC 10 medicine check. And going from there. And there are a couple different ways to stabilize a character. If you have a way to heal them, you can, you do your saving throw. And then if the creature takes damage, it stops being stable and starts making death saving throws again. A stable creature that isn't healed regains 1 hit point after 1d4 hours. So that's just, if you can't get them up immediately, that's how long it takes for them to wake up. And then it delves into temp HP, which is nice. I like that they point out that they are not actual hit points or healing. You are just increasing their health bar. So if you knock someone out and give them temp HP, great. That's just going to take that much more to get them fully healed. Then it delves into your conditions, which is nice, and durations and stacking and things like that. Then we have a 2-page example of combat play, And then we delve into Chapter 2, which is creating your character, which I will cover at a different time because I gotta get ready for work. If you guys enjoyed this, feel free to watch it again, like it, subscribe. I don't know. I'm new to Twitch. Do whatever Twitch does. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I hope you continue to have an excellent day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.